in Eastern time, which for some of you may yet be the morning, but for others of you it may be pretty late in the day. So it's me. I'm Penny. It's Wednesday. It's time for Cat Chat with Penny. And today we're going to talk a little bit about emergencies because I feel like this needs to be addressed. A lot of people, when you spend time on the internet at all, especially Facebook, there's all sorts of pet lover groups out there. And what happens a lot is somebody posts something and says, well, what should I do about this? And there's about 17 comments to say, call your vet, call your vet, call your vet, call your vet. So rather than, well, the question really is, when is it time to call your vet? So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Like, when is it time to call your vet? When is it time to just put the cat in a carrier and go to the 24-hour vet and be ready to spend those $700? And what things can maybe wait a few days or a few weeks. So that's what we're going to talk about. But first, I'd like y'all to say hello, say hi. Go ahead and post where you're watching from. If you're watching live or on replay, it don't make no never mind to me. I'd like to know where people are tuning in from. I am currently live on LinkedIn. I'm live in my Mew Mew House Facebook page. I'm live in Cat Chat with Penny, which is a private Facebook group. And I'm live on YouTube with the Cat Chat with Penny channel. So, go ahead and just say hello, because we can do that. And I'd just like to know where you're all coming from. All right, so the real question is, when do you call the vet? Well, I'll tell you right just flatly, if something is alarming that's happening with your cat and you're not sure what it is, then you call your vet. All right? I mean, you need to call the vet. And there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, the internet is not the best place to get answers. Just like with humans, I mean, if you have like a little sore and you go and you Google it, right? The universe is going to tell you you've got 3 weeks to live, right? So the internet is bad. You need to talk to somebody with expertise. Now, going to Facebook and saying, hey, is this weird? Has anybody seen this before? It's harmless enough, but you should call your vet. I can't stress that enough. If you don't have a vet, there are actually Facebook groups that are the only people allowed to respond are people with their little DVMs. I say little. It's no small task to become a veterinarian. So by all means, take advantage of those groups. But if you're hanging out and you just have say for example, you're in my private Facebook group, Cat Chat with Penny. If you say, my cat has this weird thing going on, I'm going to tell you to call the vet. All right? Okay. So that's what you need to do. But the vet's going to ask you questions, and this is going to help you understand how big of an emergency you have. And in some cases, maybe you want to forego calling the vet and just pack the cat up or the dog or whatever and take them to the emergency vet. Now, emergency vets aren't cheap, but they will save your pet's life. So that's why. So you need to know, right? So what is an emergency? So, well, let's sort of go down or up, down, over the list. Well, let's start with big emergencies, because these are the things that happen. Is it a major emergency? If your cat can't breathe, if your dog can't breathe, respiratory distress, that's an emergency. You're going to the eVet. Especially with cats, if they are just sitting there and open mouth breathing, that's a huge sign of problems. If your cat is open mouth breathing, you should go to the emergency vet. I mean, you can call your regular vet to see if they can get you in right that instant, but if they can't get you in right that instant, you need to go to the eVet. If they collapse, if they just fall over and they can't get up, you're going to the emergency vet. If they can't walk or can't get up, same thing, you're going to the emergency vet. If they can't pee, all right, it looks like they're trying to pee, but nothing is happening, then they need to go to the emergency vet. Animals can pass away very quickly from urinary blockages, so you need to take care of that right away. If you see blood in the urine of a male cat, this is also a big deal. Male cats get blockages a lot, so that's important. If you see your cat having a seizure, yes, just pack up the cat and go, okay? Or your dog or whatever. You're going to the e-vet. If you've seen they've been struck by a car, or they've been attacked by another animal, or it looks severe, it looks like there's open wounds or whatever, you're going to the emergency vet. If they're bleeding like crazy, profuse bleeding, now a little blood can go a long way. So, it can look like a big mess, but if it's not actually, if you don't see like blood pouring out of them, if you see blood pouring out of an injury, you're going to the vet. Because they're depending on the dog or the cat, they're not that big. They don't have a huge volume of blood, so you don't want them to lose much. Any snake bite, those things have to be treated right away. And then if you have a dog or cat or any pet that's retching, that nothing is coming up, that could also be a blockage. You need to get them to the emergency vet. Just don't, yes, call your regular vet if you can, while you're packing them into the car. I do this. I'm very fortunate. I can call my local vet and say, hey, this is happening. Can I bring him in? But if the vet is closed, the vet is closed, and I'm going to the emergency vet. And I've been to the emergency vet, and I've lost pets there. And it is horrible. All right. So these are, like, you're getting in the car. You are going now. Now, the next tier of, this is urgent. You need to call your vet, but, if you can't get in until tomorrow, it'll probably be okay. For example, if they're vomiting a lot, but it's productive, but they're vomiting a lot. Okay, call your vet, see if you can get in, within 24 hours. If they're not eating, if their lack of appetite lasts more than 24 hours, you definitely, just like with us, we can go 24 hours without eating, but if we stop eating after that, okay, or we're still not eating, we probably need to take ourselves to the urgent care. If you know they ate something they shouldn't have eaten, you call your vet and get that taken care of. Lots of coughing, that's problematic. Right? If you're breeding animals, or if you just happen to have a pregnant animal that's gone into labor, if nothing is happening, if they're straining and no babies are coming out, then that's pretty urgent. That might actually send you to the e-vet. Lots of seizures, but they're not actively having a seizure. Call your vet. You probably need to get in. In these cases, you might wind up at the emergency vet. Okay, but you're calling before you pack up your pet. Okay. If they have diarrhea, especially if it's paired with vomiting, or loss of appetite, this has been going on. And then if they ate something that's toxic, these are the ones where you're just like, okay, I have to act now. I'm not going to sit back and watch. You're going to do something. But in some cases, you are calling your vet while you're driving to the emergency vet. In others, you're calling your vet and then driving to the emergency vet. Okay. Now, in the list of things that can probably wait, for your regular vet to open, the occasional vomiting isn't a big deal. A little bit of diarrhea, soft stool, straining to poop, that's a thing. If you saw them eat something but they seem to be okay, a little bit of blood in the urine is, in a male cat, that's a big deal, but in a female cat, maybe not a huge emergency. Little cuts and whatnot, that can be taken care of without non-emergency. Now, we have common with cats and dogs, broken toenails. They can bleed. Not an emergency. Um, uh, well, smaller injuries, you know, a little bit of eye discharge, and these are things that you worry about, but you're not going to the emergency vet for these, all right? Unless your vet says you should take them there. Um, Limping, I brought, cats and dogs can last quite a while on a limp. If you saw them eat rat poison, well, you're going to call your vet, but that needs to be taken care of pretty quickly, and so on. All right. Now, in terms of things that you need to see your vet for, these are more of the chronic things you're used to. I have a cat that's apparently allergic to his food, so we're working on that right now. This is something that it looks alarming. Okay, it actually looks pretty alarming because he's like one massive scab right now because of food allergy. It looks alarming, but it's actually, and I'm working on my vet, but I'm not taking him to the e-vet for this. They have long-term health problems, like diabetes, or they're losing weight over time, they're losing their hair, and so on. Then, these are things that can wait. You can take care of those later. Anyway, I hope in the end this is helpful. Like I said, there are just some things that you really need to just not think about it and take your cat to the vet. And most of the time, if you see something that is alarming and troubling you, you shouldn't diagnose yourself, okay? Unless you are a vet or you have tons and tons of experience. I have tons and tons of experience, and I still call my vet, okay? I have a cat that randomly vomits, like, kind of awful. And so I work with my vet to try to figure out what's going on. I don't run to Facebook and say, well, maybe, we do the best we can, but if something is out of place or doesn't seem right, then you should talk to your vet. But if there's anything where they can't breathe, they're not able to walk, there's been a huge accident, they're bleeding a lot, they're throwing up, they're not able to pee, and so on, these are things that you just pack your animal up and head straight to the vet. If they haven't been eating, or they've had some seizures but they seem to be okay at the moment, call your vet, and then you're probably going to pack them up and go to the emergency vet. If there's a lot, if they seem to be struggling in any way or they have some small injuries, you're still going to call your vet, but it'll probably wait a day or two. And if there's something that sort of seems chronic that's developed over time, maybe you noticed a lump or something, call your vet. And then you're going to go in when the vet has a space for you. So in the end, I hope you all realize that the theme here is that you should probably call your vet if there's something not quite right with your pet. And, and it's okay to go to resources like Facebook. A lot of people can't afford the vet. It's really expensive. Emergency vets are really expensive. And if you're going to use something like Facebook or some other social media, there are online services that are run by people with their DVMs, and there are Facebook groups that are called Vets Only, and that's the only people answering your questions are people who actually have the background and training to answer them correctly. If you're going to your favorite cat group and just saying, hey, this thing's happening, presumably everybody's going to tell you to call your vet, and that's what they're going to do, and it's not to be cruel. It just is what it is. And, please do that. Hopefully, none of you who are watching today have any problems with your pets. They live long and healthy lives. Me, as a person whose house is full of older cats, every day I observe something that makes me go, am I going to call the vet today? Just going to wait, and so on. So I'm in this process all the time. And I've been to the emergency vet. I'd go there probably a couple times a year for pets. And I also bring emergencies to my regular vet frequently enough. And most of the time when I hit that point, it's pretty clear that it's an emergency, but there's lots of gray area. So when in doubt, which should be most of the time, call your vet, and then hopefully you don't wind up in a situation where you have to go to the emergency vet. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. It is now, it's 1:15 and time for me to get on with my day. We are here, ready to go. I don't know what I'm talking about, but have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. If you like what you're watching, please like it, share it. You can't share from the Facebook group, but you can share from the Facebook page. And I sure hope you all have a wonderful and warmer, and actually maybe not necessarily warmer, but the perfect temperature rest of your week. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.